Good morning, students. Welcome to Zoology webinars of Model Schools for Senior Inter. Children, Prashanti ma'am was explaining us about the applied biology, isn't it? Now, when we talk about your course in the intermediate, you are in final year, isn't it? So, what are the subjects you learn here? Botany, zoology, physics, chemistry. So, botany, zoology we have to learn because we are integrated, isn't it? Chemistry we learn because we should know what all the reactions happening in our body. Either it may be like minerals, proteins, or hormones or enzymes, any chemical reactions, n number of chemical reactions happen in our body. So chemistry, to learn chemistry also it is justified. But why, what about physics? Why we have to learn, isn't it? So do you have any, did you think about this? Why we have to learn physics? Now, not only physics, even we are, it is mandatory, we have to learn about computers, electronics, all sort of things. So why? What is the necessity of learning physics, especially in your course? So that is one aspect. And suppose if you happen to go to a doctor, not yourself, if you're sick, or your elderly people like grandma, grandparents, if they go to a doctor and you are with them, doctor, after seeing the symptoms, he'll give a prescription, isn't it? Suppose he is not able to assess the symptoms and diagnose the what the patient is suffering, he will write a small test. Did you observe any time? It may be complete blood picture or ECG or MRI or CT scan, a number of things. It depends on the situation, like what the patient is complaining about, isn't it? So, did you notice MRI, ECG, or CBC, or any of the things, the abbreviations? We all know only the abbreviations, isn't it? ECG, MRI, CT scan, CAT, all this, ELISA test. If you happen to see any of the test results also, you can see all the side headings. So we'll just, Prashanti madam would like to explain us about all these things. So better technically we'll be learning all these things and in this session. Okay. So I welcome Prashanti madam. Madam, good morning.
Madam, good morning, madam.
Yeah. Please take over the session, madam.
Yeah, madam. Good morning, students. Today, we shall learn in the chapter Applied Biology, Part 3, Biomedical Technology. I am Prashanti, PGT Zoology from Mulkanur, Karimnagar district. After this lesson, you will be able to identify the various medical imaging instruments, the types, and you will be able to know the importance of its usage, the procedure, and also the benefits and the dangers through the radiations. And also, students, you will be able to appreciate the various tests like blood test, ELISA test, which is useful to diagnose the various diseases like HIV, pregnancy, etc. Yes. When you see in our previous sessions, that is about transgenic animals, animal husbandry, the scientists have done a really great effort to increase the productivity for the growing population. So that is by eating such kind of healthy food, we can stay healthy. Then how many are being healthy children? Yes, many prefer outside junk foods, which may fall to illness. Doctors and also the scientists are doing a tremendous research to find out various medicines, cure of various diseases, and also to diagnose the diseases by various methods. So we shall see into the biomedical technology, children. Yes, what is a radiography? So that is emitting radiations to identify the particular disease in the human body is called as radiography. So this is being done by the physician by emitting ionizing radiations into the human body parts. This is classified into two areas, that is diagnostic radiology and interventional radiology. The name itself says diagnose. Diagnose means what, children? Tracing out. So here the physician will trace out the disease by emitting the radiations to the targeted part. When you see interventional radiology, means not only taking the diagnosis by images like X-ray, MRI, but also he does a small surgeries also, that is called as interventional radiology. So like to treat the cancer and also to cure or that is the blockages in the arteries, etc. So radiology is emitting the radiations to diagnose and treat the diseases. Yes, what is biomedical technology? It is application of engineering, that is technology in all the living organisms. Children, by studying applied biology, animal husbandry, biomedical technology, you are having a wide scope. You will have a good settlement in your life. You will have a good job career, like settling in software, hardware, medical device industry, innovative design and development, research and development, manufacturing, equipment testing and field servicing, clinical patient evaluation, technical documentation, sales, hospital equipment selection and support, teaching, management, undergraduate preparation for medicine, dentistry or law, biomaterials developer, independent consultant. Children, you're having a wide scope. That is, when you're good in handling the lab apparatus in your, might be zoology lab, botany lab, physics or chemistry, you will be having good manipulation skills. That is, you will be become a doctor, you can work in a clinical diagnostic laboratory, you can become a medical transcription, you will be good at sales or services in the hospitals. That is, you will settle in your life, might be in your public or private sector. So children, just pay attention to what I say. Yes. In that, first comes X-ray. Have you ever listened to X-ray? Yes, children, whenever we have an injury, like an accident, doctor will ask us to take an X-ray. What is an X-ray? X-ray is a painless medical test which is being done by producing, that is, low ionized radiations onto that particular part of the body. Okay, so here the physical and anatomical variations of that targeted part are being identified by an X-ray. Then who discovered X-rays? So the X-ray technology was discovered by Röntgen. Who is Röntgen, children? Yes, he is the keen person who plays a main role in the discovery of X-rays. Yes. So how did he discover X-rays? We shall see to it. While he was doing his experiment on the light, which was similar to that of the fluorescent light, he has seen a beam of rays coming out far from him. Okay, so over here it was been falling far beyond him. So he was astonished to see that particular rays. Later, he experimented on also different substances and found that some particular rays are able to pass on and give rise to a different type of shadow. So by this, he named it as X-rays. And do you know, students, in mathematics, X means an unknown quantity or unknown number. So by that, he has given the name as X-rays. He has done a tremendous work, that is in the laboratory, to work on the X-rays, and his wife, that is Anna Bertha Röntgen, really supported him. You may be wondering, children, why I'm saying about his wife. Yes, behind every man's success is a woman. So likewise, here also, Röntgen's wife really supported him, and on his experimental surveys, he was doing on the not only on the substances, he want to take a radiation photography from a human being. So his wife gave her a left hand to take the radiograph. So here, this is her left hand radiography, which is being taken. And here, children, you can even see that here the wedding ring also is being seen. So this radiography really appeared wonderful, which was having a long bones like a shadow. And this photograph was the first radiograph picture, and this gave him a worldwide fame, and also gave him the first Nobel Prize in physics in 1901. In this way, X-rays are being discovered, children. Okay, so over here, when you see, this is the X-ray machine. The X-rays are being emitted to the particular area to find out where the diagnosis is there. Then how does it work? When you see, X-rays are being produced when a beam of energy, electrons, hit a metal target. So when the electrons collide, they lose kinetic energy, and some of the rays are being converted to the X-rays. These are being projected onto the body parts. Then how are they recorded? So these projections, these are being recorded on the photographic film. The photography developed by using the X-rays is called as radiograph, otherwise also called as a skiagraph. X-ray attenuation means that is X-ray is being, film is being produced and different by the different intensities on the different parts of the body. When you see, that is dense bone will show having high attenuation, will have appearance of white on the film, whereas the medium of air, for example, when you take the parts like lungs, when X-ray is being taken, the appearance on the X-ray film will be black, and the fat, it will be dark gray. And when you take the soft tissues, it allows more X-rays to pass through, and it appears gray in color, children. Okay, then on what parts of our body that is X-rays can be taken? X-rays can be taken on any part of the body. Yes, children? Yes, we'll see to the few X-rays. Here, this is the X-ray of the ribs. Children, this here you notice that the bones are flat and the joints are gliding joints. You have learned into the bones and the joints in your fourth chapter, children, that is skeletal system. We can take even an X-ray of the cranium when there is a head injury or any error in the brain. And here the bones we notice are flat bones and immovable joints. This is the X-ray of the wrist, children. Here you notice that is the bones, that is radius and ulna. And here the joints are gliding joints. Okay, so if there is any problem, doctor will write the X-ray. And here this is the X-ray of the arm and the X-ray of the leg, that is the bones, that is tibia, fibula. And this is the bone. What is this bone, children? Yes, this is the kneecap, very important. This is called as patella bone. Okay, and the joint here is hinge joint. And you can also take the X-rays, that is here like fractures. Here notice, children, a slight fracture is being noticed. So here the bones appear white on the X-ray. So here the breakage is also seen, children. And also here when you see like arthritis, joints problems, and also osteoporosis, that is when there is any fracture in the hip area, when the bones become weak, X-ray is being taken. And X-rays are also used to detect and diagnose cancer, and also when any foreign substance enters into the body. Suppose by known or unknown, if you engulf any foreign substance, here you see in the picture, children, there is a pin which is being seen in the lung region. So like that, foreign substances are being identified by the X-ray film. And also this is the dental X-ray, children. That is if we have any problem in the tooth, like toothache, caning tooth, etc., the dentist doctor writes an X-ray. And also during the breast cancer, not only chemotherapy, surgery, even the X-rays are also say to how much extent the cancerous cells are being spread in the breast region. And here, then how the patient is being prepared for an X-ray. So a separate dress is being worn, not only by the physician, but also even by the person who is taking X-ray. So here, he is been wearing, that is a lead apron dress, that is a gown, children. Then why they have to change their dress into a lead apron? So when you see X-rays, these are having high ionizing radiations, isn't it, children? Even we have learned in our previous topic of cancer. Okay, so due to the emission of the high radiations, that is they undergo mutations, and which may affect the healthy cells. So doctors prefer for the changing into the lead apron dress, and also removing the jewelry, and going for an X-ray. And one more thing we have to remember is, every woman, that is if she is a pregnant, they should say, well, before taking an X-ray, if they are pregnant. Why? Means it will be showing an effect on the fetus. So suppose if they has an emergency to take an X-ray, if they are been well informed before, the ionizing radiations effect will be lessened, and X-ray will be taken only under emergency, children. Otherwise, X-rays are not taken to the pregnant woman. And here, this is a treatment that is involving taking a X-ray of the circulation picture. This is called as angiography. Okay, so here this is the treatment, the X-ray given, you were to trace out the blocks of the coronary artery vessels. And this is the oldest method, and one more, the advanced method is also there, children, to know the clustered images where the blockage is seen. That is the digital subtraction angiography, and this is used to get a better resolution images. Okay, children. So in this way, we get different images at different areas of the body whenever a doctor wants to diagnose it by the X-ray. And not only the X-rays are at a particular place, there are also mobile X-rays. These are the portable X-rays, children. These are also available nowadays. So X-rays show the defect where it is exactly, and it gives a 2D, that is a two-dimensional image. Yes, but still we find side effects also by taking an X-ray. Yes, children, we already learned that is it is linked to slightly, that is a risk of cancer. Not only it is a risk of cancer, but also sometimes they suffer due to some reasons like vomitings, bleeding, fainting, and also hair loss. So these are a few side effects of the X-rays, children. Next, we go to computed axial tomography, that is CAT. Otherwise, we commonly call as CT scan. Okay, so this is CT scan, children. Just see the picture. Have you ever seen in the hospital CT scan? Okay, children. Who invented it? So it has been invented by Godfrey Neufeld Hounsfield, Alan MacLeod Cormack. Okay, so Alan MacLeod Cormack, he received the Nobel Prize for his invention of CT scan. And this computed axial tomography, so this is called a CAT scan or CT scan. This is a medical imaging method. This employs tomography. That is, it uses computer and also X-ray. Once again, I repeat, children, it uses computer and also X-ray to take three-dimensional image from the two-dimensional X-ray. Okay, so it is called as tomography. What is tomo? Tomo means slices. Graphy means that is writing. Means writing into slices on the computer is called as tomography. So here the CT scan uses, that is computer and also X-ray emissions, to get a 3D image of the targeted affected area. Here, just see, children, here, this is a combination of X-rays and also the readings are being taken on the computer. So it is called as computerized axial tomography scan. And these cross-sectional images of that area are examined on the computer by monitoring it carefully. Then how does CT scan works? Okay, so here when you see a narrow beam of light, it is being sent which is on a particular area where it is being targeted. And here, just see children, a particular beam of light, this has been falling on a particular area of the person. And here it will be producing series of images, okay, at different angles. It will be producing series of images. So these are combined together by tomographic reconstruction by the computer. Okay, so this has been recorded and this has been repeated also children to take number of slices. So these cross-sectional images, that is called as tomographic images, gives rise to the 3D image of that particular area. So in this way, X-ray image is being turned into the 3D image by the computer monitoring. Okay, so then when does the doctor say a person to take a scan? Okay, children, so here to detect any problems in the bone, might be any joint problem or any fractures when you undergo an accident, when you fall down, etc. And also that is any tumor and also osteoporosis, that is to test the density of the bone, osteoporosis, and also during the blood clots children, and also during an injury, during a heart attack, also scanning a CT scan doctors will be writing. And also that is to detect the different types of cancers, and to know about the status of the breathing problem, asthma, and the kidney stones, and also that is detecting, diagnosing, and treating of the vascular diseases. So in n number of problems, doctors prefer CT scan. Okay, so what is CT scan children? That is usage of X-ray radiations also, and these are being fed in the computer, that is called as CT scan. Okay, and also here during the head injuries and different types of cancer, CT scan is being taken. Then what is the risk? As I have said, even for the X-ray, here also high ionizing radiations are used, isn't it children? So what will happen? It will be damaging the DNA in our body. So there is a chance of the occurrence of the cancer if you go to always if you prefer CT scan. So in order to avoid this type of scans and all, we have to take always healthy food children. The next comes magnetic resonance imaging, that is MRI scan. Hope you all have known even to this term also children. Have you ever visited a scanning center? Okay, yes, MRI scan. So this is the MRI scanning machine children. What is MRI? That is over here, it is a diagnostic radiation technology. That is, it uses magnetic waves, radio waves, and computer to produce images of the body components. Once again, I repeat children, it uses magnetic waves, radio waves, and computer. So here three are used. Okay, so that is used to image a particular part. It is called as MRI. Who discovered MRI? Yes, MRI was discovered by Professor Peter Mansfield, and he was the Nobel Prize awardee, and also Raymond Damadian. He also worked on the MRI before itself in 1973. He is the father of MRI, but the Nobel Prize awardee was Professor Peter Mansfield. Okay, then how the my MRI scanner works and what is the procedure, we have to say. This is very important children for your IPE and also for the competitive examination. So when you see, this is a giant tube children of the MRI, and this is the movable bed, and inside is the magnetic field. Okay, so here when you see, the patient is being placed on the movable bed that is inserted into the magnet. So when you see human being, he is having very small magnets in it. Okay, let's see how. Means how you can say that there are small micro magnets in our body. We shall see. When you see every human being, before going to MRI, one has to change his dress into a lead apron to protect himself. Okay, so over here, that is apron is compulsory who undergoes the MRI scan, and one should see that he is not taking any metal objects inside and is not wearing any jewelry, and also loud sound noise will be coming from the scanner. So you will be afraid of the noises, so some earphones or headphones are being kept to the person who undergoes the MRI scan, and the physician should make the patient first comfortable. He should not be scared of seeing the big scanning machine, children. Okay, and the patient should not move in that giant circular magnetic tube, and he should be first of all advised him not to move. Okay, so this is the giant circular magnetic tube, children. Here, the person, when you see, he's having 80% of water in his body, that is hydrogen and oxygen ions. Okay, so at the center of each hydrogen atom, there is a proton, which is sensitive to the magnetic field. Okay, when the body is put in a strong external magnetic field of MRI scan, the micromagnets will align in one direction. Just see, children, over here, all the micromagnets in his body, they are aligned in one direction. Then the second radio frequency magnetic field is turned on for a brief period, means for a little amount of period. Okay, protons absorb energy that is from the radio waves and release it at a radio frequency. This is being detected by a micro scanner. So different types of tissues emit different quanta of energy. This is the MRI scan film, children. Just see over here. This is all being taken by the MRI scanner. So might be they are abnormal tissues, tumors, tissues like a bone with a less water content, all etc. are being traced out in the MRI. As you all know, our body has 80% of water. So here by the MRI, when you see even in the same tissue, the healthy cell and also the diseased cell can be differentiated. That is due to the emission of the different energy waves. So this MRI information, this is being processed by the computer and the image is being generated. So this is really a very good method, children, to detect more clearly the diseased area. Then when MRI is being taken, MRI is taken to diagnose strokes, brain infections, central nervous system, and to visualize various injuries and evaluate soft tissues, cysts, bone tumors, and disc problems. Then what are the advantages of MRI? Yes, children, as there are no ionizing radiations and there is no side effect, no short-term effect, no long-term effect. And we can see that more clear details of the tissues are being known by the MRI scan. Okay, so here magnetic field is being used, children, and also not only magnetic field, here that is we are using computer and also the radio waves, so no ionizing radiations. Okay, so when you see there are some disadvantages also, children, that is it is really very costly, and also if known or unknownly, if he keeps the metallic objects with him during the scan, it gets attracted to the machine and the person will fall in problem. And this MRI scan, as like the CT scan or X-ray, it is not advisable for the pregnancy. And we should not move, as I've already said. And if you move, there is any movement, it causes blur image of the MRI film. Next comes electrocardiogram. Cardia means heart. Okay, so this is the ECG. So over here, This is the ECG machine, children. This is a graphical representation of the electrical activity of the heart. Okay, so electrical activity of the heart is being shown through the graphical representation is called electrocardiogram. Heartbeat, this is the recorder on the graph paper. It checks for the signs of any heart disease. Okay, so here when you see, it includes depolarization, repolarization of the heart muscle. What is heart muscle, children? It is myocardium. You have learned in your circulatory system chapter, that is what is the myocardium, what is cardiac cycle, what are atrium, ventricles, depolarization, repolarization, etc. So here it includes depolarization and repolarization of the heart muscle, of that is myocardium. What is depolarization? Once again you say, children, that is contracting of the heart, depolarization. Coming to the normal resting state is repolarization. So here ECG says the electrical activity, that is what is the status of the heart, are there any signs of the disease, is being known by the ECG. Who discovered it? It was Willem Einthoven who discovered the ECG, and he received the Nobel Prize in Physiology in 1924. This is electrocardiograph, children, ECG machine used to record the electrical activity of the heart. And this is the electrocardiogram, the graph on which the electrical activity is being recorded. Okay, so what is this, children? This is ECG paper. This is a long paper. Just see, children, here small squares are being seen the whole length of the paper. Okay, and here when you see, there are also thick lines in between also. So here thick lines are being present, and in between them there are 5 small squares. So this is the ECG paper used for the graphical representation of the electrical activity of the heart. And here ECG LEDs. So here the ECG LEDs, these are being placed on the different parts of the body. So we shall see on which parts the LEDs, that is the electrodes are being placed to record the electrical potential of the heart. So here there are 12 ECG LEDs are being placed on the different parts, that is 3 bipolar, that is might be towards the hand, or 3 on the leg, and 6 compulsorily on the chest. So total of 12 ECG LEDs are being placed to record the electric potential of the heart. Okay, so in this way they are placed, children, 6 on the chest region, and over here 3 on the legs and the 3 on the hands. So total of 12, these are being placed to take the ECG. What are the components of ECG? Means on the graph, what do we notice? Here, children, we notice different types of waves, intervals, segments are being formed. We'll see what are the components, children. So here we notice waves, intervals, segments, and complexes. Was we see first to the waves. There are waves like P wave, Q, R, S, and T waves we observe. So first one is P wave. So this is the P wave, children. Just see here. This is the rounded part is called as the P wave. This has been enlarged part. Just see, children. This represents the atrial depolarization or atrial systole. You have learned to the systole, diastole, etc. Children. Atrial systole means when the atrium is being filled with blood, what will happen? It contracts and pushes the blood towards the ventricles. Okay. So during atrial systole or atrial depolarization, it shows the P wave. Okay. So the impulse is passing through the atria. What is the duration, children? It is 0.1 second. Means it is only 2.5 small squares. 2.5 small squares, and it shows sinus rhythm. Next is, it is a combination of Q, R, and S waves. So as these are closely related and closely placed, it is called as QRS complex. So here this is the QRS wave, children. So just see, they are placed close to each other. Q, R and S. Okay, so it represents ventricular depolarization, or it is also called as ventricular systole. Means when the ventricles are filled with blood, they contract and push the blood to the aorta and the pulmonary trunk. This is called as ventricular systole or ventricular depolarization. Okay, so here this is when you see that is the normal duration is 0.08 seconds to 0.1 second. Okay, so already I've said this is QRS complex. So when you see a Q is a very small wave and the R is tall positive and S is small negative wave. Okay, next wave is T wave. So this is the T wave, children. Just observe, this is the T wave. So this occurs after the QRS. So this is the QRS, children. After the depolarization, here the T wave appears. This represents ventricular repolarization. Means once again it has been repolarized. Means once again it comes back to the resting state, that is called as ventricular repolarization. The duration is 0.2 seconds. Okay, so till now students, we have seen to the P wave, QRS complex wave and T wave. Let's see the intervals of the ECG. So here these are PR interval, QT interval, and this is the long one, that is the RR interval. So first one is the PR interval. Just see children, this is P wave and this is the R wave. So here it is the interval between the beginning of the P wave and the beginning of the Q wave. So in between, this is called as PQ interval. Okay, then what is the normal duration? So these waves, these readings are all of a healthy person, children. So the duration is 0.12 to 0.2 seconds. And this is the conduction time of impulse, that is from sino-auricular node to the atrioventricular node. Means from the atria to the ventricle, the passing of the impulse interval is PQ interval, children. Next comes, that is QT interval. So this is the QT interval, children. That is, it measures, that is from the starting of the Q wave to the end of the T wave. So here children, this is the interval between Q and T is called as QT interval. Okay, so when does this QT interval? So it represents the electrical activity in the muscle of the ventricle. As you all know, children, our heart contains two atria, two ventricles. Ventricles are the lower chambers, children. So the electrical activity of the muscles of the ventricle, they represent QT interval. Okay, what is the duration? It is 0.4 seconds. Okay, so it nearly occupies the 10 small squares, children, over here. Next comes RR interval. Okay, so just see children, this is a long space R interval. Okay, so it signifies the duration of one cardiac cycle. What is cardiac cycle, children? Cardiac means end of one heartbeat and the starting of the another heartbeat. So the time period or interval between it is called as cardiac cycle. So RR interval signifies the duration of one cardiac cycle. What is the duration, children? You have learned in the circulation chapter. It is 0.8 seconds. Next comes ST segment. This is the time period. Here, just see children, this is the ST segment. That is the end of the S wave and the onset of the T wave. Means here the S wave is ending, T wave is starting. So in this between this period is called as ST segment. It is representing the time between depolarization and repolarization of the ventricles, means contraction and relaxation. So we have learned the different segments, children, that is PQ, QT, RR, and also ST segments also. Next, we'll see that is after the ECG is being taken, what does the doctor interpret? So there are various clinical inferences, children. The doctor will be interpreting by seeing the ECG. Here, in this picture, what do you notice, children? Here, these are the atria, these are the ventricles, as you already know, children. So here, this is enlarged atria. When you see here, when the P wave, it is enlarged, it shows the atria are enlarged. So enlarged P wave indicates enlarged atria. And here when you see QRS, as you already know, children, Q should be small, and this R should be tall, and S should be little bit negative. So over here, if there is any variation, might be in the duration or might be in the amplitude or the frequency, QRS complex indicates disorders. Means there will be any blockages in the conduction of the impulses. Next, if PQ interval is prolonged, it indicates a delay in the conduction of the impulse. Like for example, if the PQ interval is very slow, it shows heartbeat is slow. That condition is bradycardia, means slow heartbeat, children. And sometimes when we are afraid, our heart beats very fast, isn't it, children? So fast heartbeat, that condition is tachycardia. Okay, so here this is the variation in the PQ interval period. And here when you see QT interval period, if it is prolonged, if the QT period is prolonged, it indicates that is myocardial infarction or hypothyroidism. Okay, so have you ever listened to these diseases, children? Yeah, this just see this picture. This is myocardial infarction, that is heart attack. What is heart attack, children? It is when the blood stops flowing to the heart. Okay, so that is called as heart attack. And what are the symptoms of heart attack, children? Here, chest pain or pain in the limb, or you may get severe pain in the neck or the back region. So that is called as heart attack or myocardial infarction. And also one more disease I have said, children, hypothyroidism. It occurs when our body, that is doesn't produce enough of thyroid hormones. Okay, so when thyroid hormones are not enough sufficiently produced by the TSH hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, it leads to hypothyroidism. Okay, so the symptoms are weight gain or weakness, etc. Next, when you take, if the QT segment, it is very short, it leads to this is very short, children, it leads to hypercalcemia. Hyper means more, children. So that is kidney stones are being forming, and this is also elevated during the heart attack, children. And when you see tall T wave also, children, so that is hyperkalemia. This is being seen, that is potassium level is being increased. Here when you see, this is the hyperkalemia, children. When you see here, it affects the heart muscles and may lead to heart attack in the future. And also when you see the T wave, if it is inverted, this is hypokalemia. Hypo means less, means low potassium level of the blood. This will also affect the heart functioning. So the different types of waves, different types of intervals, segments, whatever seen in the ECG picture, they show exact picture of how our heart is been functioning. Next, children, we go to electroencephalography. What is ECG, children? It is related to the heart. So now we are seeing to EEG, electroencephalography. So this is related to the brain. EEG is related to the brain. It is the graphical representation of the electrical activity of the brain. Yes, we can define it. That is electrical activity is being picked up by the electrodes. Here, these are being placed all over the scalp, and here this is being read by the EEG machine, electroencephalography machine. Here, the readings of the brain electrical activity are being taken. Yes, Hans Berger, he invented EEG, and he is also the father of electroencephalography. Several neurons are present in the brain. Okay, so these generate electrical impulses and they fluctuate rhythmically in a specific manner. So these readings of the brain are taken in EEG. Then what are the types of waves? We have learned the waves of ECG, children. Now we are seeing to the waves of EEG. Okay, so there are different types of waves in the EEG. They are alpha wave, beta wave, theta wave, and delta wave. First one, alpha wave. So this is the alpha wave, children. So this is seen in the person who is awake, but he's feeling drowsy or sleepy. So in that person, here the brain shows alpha waves. So it shows a frequency that is 8 to 13 cycles per second. And this originates in the occipital region of the brain. So here, this is the region, children. Occipital lobe of the brain shows the alpha waves. Next comes the beta waves. Here, children, these are the beta waves. Here, these are unsynchronized waves. Then when they appear in the brain. So here, when the person who is mentally very active are always in very tension, the brain shows beta waves, children. And here it is showing a high frequency, that is 13 to 14 cycles per second. And this originates in the frontal and parietal regions of the brain. Just see the brain, children, over here. In these areas, frontal and the parietal regions, the beta waves are being seen. Okay, so here this is seen in the person who is in a tension or mentally active state. Next one, the delta waves. Just see, these are the delta waves, and these are having higher amplitude but very low frequency. Might be even less than 3 cycles per second. And here this is seen in children when awake, and also when seen in the adult when they are deep asleep. Okay, so here this occurs, this delta waves occurs in children when there is tumor in the brain, or also in the epilepsy condition. Epilepsy means seizures in the brain. And also when a person is in mentally depression condition, that is EEG shows delta waves. Next comes the theta waves. Here this occurs in the children, that is less than 5 years of age, and also in the adults. So the frequency, when you see, that is between 4 and 8 cycles per second, and who are always in emotional stress, that is brain shows theta waves. Okay, so here these are the waves we have learned, children: beta, alpha, theta, and the delta. So these are the normal adult brain waves. Then what are the uses of taking this EEG? Okay, so this EEG is helpful to know about the various brain conditions like epilepsy. Epilepsy means seizures in the brain, that is abnormalities in the brain is called as epilepsy. And also coma. What is coma, children? Yes, coma means it is undergoing and prolonged period of unconsciousness. And also brain death means stopping the flowing of blood to the brain. It is also called as brain dead. You will be seeing during the accidents, the brain is dead, like that. So over here, brain dead. So these are all being read by the EEG. And also during sleep disorders like Alzheimer's disease, means you're not getting sleep during the night time, or you're going to sleep late nights. That is a sleeping disorder that is related to the brain, children. And also dementia. Dementia means loss of memory and reasoning skill. Okay, so these are all being seen, that is by the EEG. Okay, so next we learn to ELISA, that is enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. Okay, so this ELISA test, this is invented by Eva Engvall and Peter Perlman in the year 1971. This ELISA test was first conducted to identify the HIV virus in the AIDS person. This was the first screening test which has been done. Yes, ELISA test measures the antigen antibody interactions in the person's blood. Then what are the requirements in the ELISA? That is microtiter plate, a specific antigen, antibody, spectrophotometer or a calorimeter, and it requires enzyme and a substrate added to it. So these are the various requirements for doing the ELISA test. Yes, I have set to the terms antigen, antibody. So these terms now you are learning in your immunology chapter also, children. What is an antigen? So antigen, that is the foreign substance which enters in the, might be in the form of chemical, pollen, or due to microorganisms, toxins, etc. And what does the antibody do, children? Antibody will be fighting against the antigen, isn't it? So that is, it will be recognizing and neutralizing the pathogen. Each antibody, here this is the Y-shaped, children, this is the antibody. It has been binding to the specific antigen. So this antigen antibody interaction, this has been identified by the ELISA test. Okay, so ELISA test, this is a common fundamental tool of clinical immunology. It measures antibodies, antigens, proteins, and glycoproteins. What are the types in ELISA then, children? So there are two types: direct ELISA, indirect ELISA. Direct ELISA, this is the test to detect the antigens. Okay, and indirect ELISA, this is used to detect antibodies in the body. Direct ELISA. So this is the direct ELISA. This is commonly used for immunohistochemical stains of tissues and cells. Okay, so here this is the direct ELISA, children. So here this is already coated with the antigen, and to the microtiter plate, here the enzyme is being added to the primary antibody, and substrate is being added, and the color change is being seen. Okay, so this is a direct ELISA, children. Just we'll see the picture representation. In this, that first it has been classified into two types: sandwich assay and competitive assay. First one is sandwich assay. So here in the sandwich assay, you ever listened to the term sandwich? Okay, so this is really delicious to eat, isn't it? So here this sandwich assay, so this is the test in ELISA, children. It detects the antigen of interest, means it uses two antibodies on a particular antigen. So over here, this is a sandwich assay, and this is coupled with the enzymes. Okay, just see the picture, children. So here, first it is been coated with the antibody. Okay, a washing is being done, and the antigen is been added to it, and after washing, here the secondary antibody is being added, and it is being linked with the enzyme, and by the washing once again, here the substrate is being added. So what does the substrate do? It will be producing color to the product. Okay, so this is a sandwich assay which is being done, which uses two different antibodies. So here primary antibody is being used, and here secondary antibody is being used. Okay, to target or to detect the antigen of the interest is called as sandwich assay. So here just see, children, that is over here antigen, it is being coated, primary antibody is being added, and the which are not been bounded to the antibody, here these are being washed away, and again the secondary antibody is being added, and also the enzyme linked antibody is being added, and after next wash a substrate is being added, children. So by adding the substrate, that is enzyme converts the substrate to a colored product. Means if the color is present, if the color is seen, means antigen is present, and if there is no color, means antigen is absent. So this is the sandwich assay, children. Means it has been sandwiched in between the two layers of the antigen. Next comes the competitive assay. So here this is used to detect how much antigen is present. So ELISA not only says about qualitative, it also speaks about quantitative. Means to how much extent the antigen or antibody is being present is also measured. So this is the competitive assay, children, and this is also an example for pregnancy test. When you take in the competitive assay, here it is already having antigens, and to the sample antibodies are being added and washed, and by adding the enzymes and the substrate, by seeing the color change, we can say whether that particular antigen is present or absent. Just see, children, here to the virus sample, here the antibody is being added, and to that enzyme is being added and the substrate. So here if there is intense color, that is over here we can say that is the antigen is absent, and if there is a change is being present, we can detect that it is being present. So here this is also seen in the pregnancy. Okay, so here in the pregnancy, you have listened to the term in the HCG. What is HCG, children? It is human chorionic gonadotropic hormone. So this is being released in the female during pregnancy. These are the chorionic cells, children. So over here in the pregnancy test, what will happen means these are being binded to the antibody, and by adding the specific enzyme or the substrate over here, intense color is being seen when there is no pregnant, and there is no change in the color if the pregnancy is there. So here this test is being done to confirm pregnancy or rule out the pregnancy. And here this is the pregnancy kit, children, that is homemade pregnancy kit, that is can be done even at the home. So here it is seen that if there is two lines appear when we add the sample of the urine or the blood, if two lines appear means pregnancy, it means it is test is positive, means that particular person is woman is pregnant. Next we go to the indirect ELISA. This is the most popular format of ELISA, children. This is used to detect antibody. You will be asked why direct ELISA is used or why indirect ELISA is used. Indirect ELISA is used to detect antibody against a known antigen, children. Okay, so here already this micro titer plate is being coated with the antigen, and to that specific antibody is being added, and to that enzymes are added, and also substrate is been added. After adding the substrate, the color is changed or not is being checked. Just see, children, here by the centrifugation, here if the color is changing, that particular antibody is being present, we can say, and if there is no color, that is the absence. So this test is being done to detect the HIV and also the rubella virus. Children, let's recap what we have learned. Yes, children, we have learned how X-rays are produced by the X-ray generator, how they are projected, and how two-dimensional images are formed. We also learned about CT scan, how it produces 3D image, what are the uses of CT scan. We also studied about MRI scan, how it is being done, what are the uses of it, and how it is being better than X-ray and CT scans. We also learned about ECG, EEG, the procedures, and also the various waves in it. We also studied about what is ELISA, what are the types of ELISA, and the procedures involved in direct and indirect ELISA. Yes, children, these few questions which are more expected for your IPE examination for 1 mark and also 4 marks, children. Few questions. MRI scan is harmless. Justify. What is electrocardiography? What are the components of ECG? What does prolonged PR interval indicate? Which substances in a sample are detected by direct and indirect ELISA respectively? Write about the procedure involved in MRI. Write briefly about the different waves and intervals in an ECG. Discuss briefly about the process of indirect ELISA. I thank Satyanarayan Reddy sir, Additional Director, Rajiv sir, Joint Director of Model Schools, my principal Srinivas sir, and all the principals who supported me, coordinators, madams, Vijay Lakshmi madam, Shailaja madam, and also the whole webinar team for this presentation.
Okay, thank you, madam. It was very elaborative and a very effective session, I strongly believe, because students, after these 3 sessions of the applied biology, you all came to know vivid varieties in choosing your career, isn't it? You have more options now, isn't it? Suppose you take today's session only. The technology is so vast, like you can go deep into any sort of things. Before day, ma'am explained us about gene therapy, and today she explained about the EEG and ECG. I would like to add one more point to EEG. Like, suppose you have suddenly any fissure, or that is fits, generally what we call it as fits, has come to any person. Okay, if you take to doctor, he asked for EEG test. So this EEG, why does he ask for EEG? EEG will record from the birth of you to your death all the things in your brain. You don't think that no one records whatever you do. Everything will be recorded in the brain. So there is a small example of EEG. Suppose by chance, if no one noticed, or in your sleep also, if seizures occur or fits occurred, it will be recorded in the brain. So that is a beautiful system, like development of technology. Okay, so by this session, I think you have 2 clear options. One is biomedical engineering, the other is doctor with radiologist. So choice is your children. So be please revisit the channel and make a running notes, complete the notes, and prepare for your IPA exam. This applied biology session is done, and I thank really great efforts have been made, Madam Prashanti, Madam. Thanks a lot,
Thank you,
even
madam.
from webinar team.
Thank you, madams.
Thank you.